take our tiniest pumpkin to start. And here's what it looks like from the back. Here, we have about 50 milliliters, or 1.5 fluid ounces of water in a plastic container. And here we have 2 grams of calcium carbide. Now, we open the top of the pumpkin. I carefully put the container with the calcium carbide in the pumpkin, then poured in the water, and quickly placed the top back on my pumpkin. Now I put my lighter in the hole in the back of the pumpkin. Wait 30 seconds for the calcium carbide to react with the water. It was pretty amazing, right? And now with our biggest pumpkin for today at 9 inches in diameter. Basically, the larger the pumpkin, the more explosive gas it can hold, and the stronger the explosion will be. The part between the nose and the eyes even broke off. That's how strong it was. And let's view it again in slow motion. What a grand finale, or? Here I've set up everything we need on this table already. My carved pumpkin, food coloring, a teaspoon of dish soap, 2/3 of a cup of hydrogen peroxide, and half a teaspoon of potassium permanganate, and some water. I'll add the dish soap into the cup with the hydrogen peroxide, squeeze in a few drops of food coloring, and mix everything together. Now I'll carefully put the cup inside the pumpkin. Next, I'll pour the potassium permanganate into this other cup with the water here, and mix it thoroughly until the potassium permanganate is fully dissolved. Finally, let's pour the potassium permanganate solution into the cup with the hydrogen peroxide inside the pumpkin. Pretty neat. But we can do better than this, right? I did a lot of mixing. And check this out. That's what I call a crazy oozing pumpkin. 3rd time's the charm though. This one is even better. I'm going to use the same amount of hydrogen peroxide as before and pour it into this container. Now I'll add a few drops of food coloring and a teaspoon of dish soap. Then I'll prepare my potassium permanganate solution and stir it until it's fully dissolved in the water. I've learned my lesson about the benefits of thorough mixing in science experiments. And yes, this is leftover foam from the pumpkin. Now let's pour the potassium permanganate solution into the hydrogen peroxide solution, and oh my goodness! That's why this is called the elephant toothpaste experiment, because it shoots out of the container looking like toothpaste that only a large animal like an elephant could use. Here's the cute one that I carved out for this experiment. My bowl of dry ice and a clean empty cup. Now, I use these tongs to carefully pick up my dry ice pellets. Let's put 2 dry ice pellets into this cup. Then I put the cup with the dry ice inside the pumpkin and make sure that it's stable. Now add just a small amount of warm water to the glass with the dry ice inside the pumpkin, and put the top of the pumpkin back on. After a few seconds, my pumpkin starts to smoke a bit. Now, I'm going to add even more water, and even more and even more. Look at all that smoke after about 12 dry ice pellets and 2 minutes. Here's what happens when I add 1 pound of dry ice to each pumpkin and keep pouring water into them. When so much carbon dioxide gas is produced, and the lids are off, all the gas, or smoke, comes out from the top of the pumpkins as well as through the eyes, nose, and mouth. For this experiment, let's fill up an old plastic bottle about 3/4 of the way with warm water, and then add some food coloring to it. Red is one of my favorite colors in case you haven't noticed. And the food coloring in the water, it's not a must-have, but who doesn't like a bit of color, right? Now I'll add a little bit of crushed dry ice and stretch my orange balloon, because it is almost Halloween, across the mouth of the bottle, and we can see that the balloon starts to inflate almost instantaneously. as the dry ice sublimates or turns into gas. My balloon refused to stay standing up though. You'll love this one because it's really cool. First, let's pour some dishwashing soap into this container here. Now, let's pour some water in as well and swirl things around a bit to get a soapy solution. Here's my faithful bowl of dry ice. I cut a long, thin strip off of this old towel and soaked it thoroughly in our soapy solution. Then, I put one pellet of dry ice into this second container and added some warm water to it to activate the gas. Now, let's take my soapy thin towel strip and stretch it across the rim of this dry ice-filled container. And check this out as my dry ice crystal ball, or soap bubble, grows. Oh no, it popped! Let's try again. The second time is even better. So let's soak my long, thin towel strip in the soapy solution again. Now I'll pour warm water into this much bigger bowl of dry ice, and quickly stretch this strip across the rim of this container like I did with the smaller one before. It took us 3 tries, but we got there in the end. Look at this, isn't it awesome? Bloopers. This isn't working, there's a hole. Let's try this with the glove. The finger. That's not good.
Okay, wait. No, wave it, push it.
Oh, oops.